This is one of the assignments that undergraduates can do if you can read this much music. And what I want to do is make this small enough so that I can see both of these on my window. And I'm going to reduce what I see here. I need to see the instrument. I don't need to see the sends. And I don't need to see the I/O for right now. All right, so we can pull this over here. And I can make this a little bigger, maybe like that. Now, those of you are looking at this and saying, well, some of you, well, how am I going to be able to play that? I can't play piano, right? There's ways around it. And I'm going to show you a couple of strategies right now for entering. Oh, excuse me. I forgot to turn one of my cameras on. Apologize. Okay, great. For those of you that can't, and even for those of you that are graduate students, to get the information into the computer, there are all sorts of strategies to get things into Pro Tools or whatever sequencer you're using. So I'm going to show you some of that now. All right, so I'm going to do two instrument tracks. So Command-Shift-N, 2 stereo instrument tracks. Now, another way that you can do this, you could just create this, right? Another way you could do this is you could have one stereo instrument track and name it here. And you could go piano, right hand, and then you hit this plus sign, and you could have another stereo instrument track, and you can name this piano, left hand, and then your tracks are already named. Now, there's another way to get at instrument tracks. If you click here, you see where it says track presets. You can go to Avid, Air Instruments Bundle, and you could put Mini Grand, right? And then you could do the same thing here, and then you'd have to name them, right? And then you just have to name this piano right hand. And notice I name this, and if I click on the next button, it brings that up. But what I can also do to make things a little quicker is I can click and drag and copy that, go to next, paste it in there, and then left hand, right? So these are all sorts of quick ways of doing these things. And let me make these tracks a little bigger. And let me get my click to the sound I like. Oh, let me fix my, so I want a 1 bar count off. So this says tempo of 92 here. I'm gonna play this slower, excuse me. And let me make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. Well, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. There we go. And I'm going to make this for right now. Let's make this 72. I can speed it up later. And I'm going to record the right hand. Let me make sure that I got a sound here. Okay. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... Let me do that again, and let me play it badly so that I have to clean it up, the notation. This is really difficult for me to do. All right, great. I'm going to mute that because I don't want to try to play along with that. And then I'll do the left hand. Now, interesting. Now, if you look at the left hand, right, it's playing this figure. So it's doing two things. It's playing the bottom part, da 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 dum bum 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 bum, and then it's playing this. So I've analyzed the music there, and let's say I can't play this, right? Well, could I play it like this? Right, with two hands. That's one thing. Or can you make a third piano track, right? And do something like, and on the next piano track, right? You could do that. There's two solutions here, and one I really don't teach in this class, but I might just show you quickly. But the first thing I want to show you is we can look right here. This is called MIDI Merge. And when this is clicked on, that means you can overdub or play a second MIDI track without erasing the notes on the first one. Okay, so that's right here in the MIDI controls. It's between the metronome and the conductor track indicators. So let me show you how you can use that to play something that you normally couldn't play. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Right, so that's the first 4 bars. Now, the second 4 bars, if the click was going tick, I'll tap the click. Tap, 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 tap. So when I'm clicking with my mouth, that's the rhythm that the second part is playing. So you could play that 2 and 3 and 4 and... And now both of those live on that one track. And then you could just clean it up. So someone had a question?
Oh, sorry. Can I see the MIDI merge function again?
Yep.
Please?
It's right here between the metronome and the conductor track.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. And if you hover over here, it'll tell you MIDI merge. And that's, we set that up at the beginning in the preferences. Tooltips. We've got them turned on, function and details.
Thank you.
So look, we've got everything in there. So you could do that if you're not a pianist. Now, there's one other trick. So I'm going to delete this. All right. And it's called step input. And step input is almost for this. It's not like cheating. I use step input all the time. If I want to do a harp glist that I can't play really well, I'll use step input. But what you can do here is it's under the event operations. Or what you can do is go option 0 to call up quantize, click, and then go to step input. So you want to enable it. You want your destination track, right? I'm set it to piano, and you want to set it to 8th notes. Now, what this will do is that this will actually make the notation perfect for you. So it's kind of not, it doesn't really help out with the assignment, but this is just a trick. So now if I just start playing the notes, I could play them at any tempo I want. And if I play it back and I'll solo that, oh, I don't need to solo it. Right. Right. That's not how I played it in, but it's playing it back because it's doing everything in the steps. So step input, these are the step increments. These are all the notation. And you can have triplets or any kind of tuplet that you want. You can set the note length to be 100%. That makes it look exactly like, just like this, right? You can make the note length to be, less or more than 100%. You can use the input velocity, means how fast I push this key will play back, or you can set the velocity to any number you want. Now, and it has undo step and next step. So let's say you play a wrong note, you can undo step, see how it erased this, right? And if redo step. And then if you want to skip a step, you can click here and notice how the cursor jumped. It keeps jumping. Okay. Now, one other thing is you can enable numeric keypad shortcuts. Click here. And then on this numeric keypad, I'm going to press numbers here and watch what happens here. So 1 is a whole note, 2 is a half note, 3 is a triplet or a tuplet, 4 is a quarter note, 5 is an eighth note, 6 is a 16th note. And then a decimal point adds a dot. So if you're entering things in by step, this is pretty much how you would do it. This is how you would step input in a notation program, correct? Like Sibelius, you do this, I know, if you're going to notate things by step. All right. So in Audio MIDI 1, I do there's an assignment on this and we go over it in great depth, but I just wanted to give you a little introduction to that. So let me pick it up from here. So that's right here. So I'm going to count off. Oh, we've got to record, enable our track. I played things badly so that we'd have to fix them up. Okay, so now we can open this up. Okay, so let me find that Schumann again. So in the right hand, we notice it's all quarter notes and half notes. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. So let me open this up. So I've got all these selected, right? Well, I'm just going to snap on the grid and notice how they've all snapped to the grid, to the beginning of the grid, right? Some of these are not right, like this is not right here, but we'll fix that as we go along. So I want to do the durations, so I can drag these out, or sorry, let me get my let me put this up here. So I'm going to look at this. So, all right. So I'm going to change the note duration. So I'm going to select all these right up to here, right? Option P brings up change duration. And I'm going to set all to 1 quarter note, right? This one's a half note. I'm just going to click and drag this one out. Now, these are all, the right hand is playing either quarter notes or a half note, right? So there's no in between, like this is a syncopation. There's none of that. So let's just fix that real quickly. And this one here. Right, these are the things that I tried to play badly Well, I did play badly. All right, so right up to here. Again, these are all quarter notes, so we can apply that. This is a half note, so I could change this to 2, and then I could select this like this and apply, and that'll make that into a half note. You can also, instead of lassoing them, right, you can click along you could just, if you put the cursor up here, notice how it changes to a trim tool. Right here, it's not a trim tool, a selector tool. It's a trim tool now, and now it's a selector. So you can just click and drag along the timeline and then fix that. And then these last, so this is 2, and then this is 1. So now my right hand is finished, okay? Now my left hand. So the first part of this is done because I did that in step time. Now, the left hand is all eighth notes up to the end here, right? So if I select all of these and I go to, excuse me, I could do this one of 2 ways. I could set this to 480, which is an eighth note. So I'm going to change the duration of all to 480 and apply that. That fixes everything. Or I can go to quantize, set it to an eighth note, and quantize the note off. And then this also needs to be quantized here, and that's fixed. So now both hands are fixed. Now comes the fun part. We go to setup. We go to window, we go to our score editor. And we need to do the setup. So we go right here to score setup. Notation displays track settings, I'm sorry. Now, my piano is only playing on the right hand, so I only need a treble staff. And then my piano left hand, I also need a treble staff. And that's it. Well, you'd have to title this. This is called a ditty. I don't know. Which I don't know what that means. And then the composer is Schumann. And that's it. Now, if on your computer you're able to save this as a PDF, great. Save it as a PDF, and yeah, it's not on my desktop here. So your computers might work. There might be something wrong with my computer why I can't print these things out anymore. But if you can't print it out, this is what you would hand in this session, and I'd be able to just quickly look in the score editor to see that it's done correctly. Now, there's one other thing you can do, and with this piece, it doesn't really work well. See, this piece has some issues because it's got 2 treble staffs, and then it switches clefs here, and you can't really do that in Pro Tools on one track. That doesn't really work with the Pro Tools notation. But what you can also do is if this window is open, you can send to Sibelius. And then if you look here, there's a score file with Sibelius. If you have Sibelius, which some of you might, graduate students. And then it opens up in Sibelius And then from here you can print it here. Yeah, that saved it as a PDF on my desktop. So I have to do an extra step now the way my computer is, which really stinks. It's just more stuff to have to remember. Okay.